Hello, I'm Steve and welcome back to Ielts Speaking. We're almost finished with the first unit of step 3, so without further ado, let's proceed to the discussion. In this lesson, we'll be dealing with questions about clothing. You will be asked a series of questions that pertain to different clothing and different styles in your country and around the world. The clothing style that you personally like and your personal preference when choosing a style of clothing, and or the methods used to purchase these things. That being said, it's not required of someone to be an expert or aficionado in this field. One need only apply the general and practical knowledge gained when speaking about this topic. For some, this topic might be difficult. There might be words or questions that you won't understand. In fact, you may encounter the same problem with the questions in other topics. In Ielts speaking, it's totally normal not to understand some of the questions or words in the questions. Alright, because of that, a key skill that will be discussed in this lesson is how to ask questions when you don't understand the question itself or the words used in the examiner's question. It's more acceptable to ask the examiner questions during the test rather than giving an off-topic answer. However, you cannot just ask the examiner any question you have. There are guidelines that you must follow. Here's a list of things you should not do. And here are the things that you could do. Asking questions for clarification doesn't negatively affect the score unless you ask for it in every question, because this already means that your grasp of English is not proficient enough to understand the question. To understand the question while still demonstrating your English fluency, ask the examiner politely to repeat or rephrase his or her question. Here are some expressions that you can memorize. To ask the examiner to explain a word, use some of these expressions. Again, asking questions will not affect your score as long as you don't do it in every question. If possible, only ask for clarification once or twice for the entire speaking test. In case you've understood the question but you don't know the answer, just make up stories. Now let's look at some questions about clothing. This question asks for description of what clothes people in your country wear. To answer this question, you can talk about the materials used in making these usual clothes and explain why they're used. Another topic you can talk about in this question is the fashion trend in your country, which is more complex than the first one. This question is likely to appear in part 1 when talking about clothes. If the question is in a yes-no form, don't forget to answer the basic question before giving details. All questions in part 1 are about familiar topics, so it's likely that you'll be able to answer them. But if you miss the question, ask the examiner to repeat it. It's better to ask than to give an answer which is off topic. Again, asking questions will not affect your score as long as you don't do it in every question. If you've understood the question but are unsure of what to answer, just make up stories. That concludes today's lesson. I'll see you next with another common topic in part 1 of the Ielts speaking test. Goodbye.